Good evening, everyone. We'd like to welcome the public to the caucus for the Lackawanna City Council, May 22nd, 23 regular council meeting. Just a reminder, at the caucus, it's the council's opportunity to discuss the various agenda items before the regular meeting after the caucus, where the voting takes place. To that end, items 1 through 5 are administrative, and we'll pass those. Next item is item number 6, communications from the mayor. Mayor on file request City Council approve attached budget ordinance for City of Lackawanna fiscal year, August 1st, 2023, July 31st, 2024. Any council members have any questions or issues on item number 6? Moving on to item number 7, communication from the city attorney on recommendation of the DPW commissioner, Tony DeSantis, sitting right over there. Request City Council authorize mayor to sign the attached fiber optic easement, Egan Drive, between the city and Crown Castle Fiber LLC, a New York limited liability company. Full context of agreement is on file at the city clerk's office. I discussed this matter with Mr. Duda last week from the law department. The authorization sits within city-owned property, public easement area. In addition, I believe the amount of $5,000 is being paid from this company to the city for the right to install their fiber optic lines in that area. Anyone have any questions, or Commissioner DeSantis, who is sitting right over there, wishes to comment?
Well, yeah, the lot that they're going through, it's not a buildable lot. It borders West Seneca and Lackawanna. It's half and half. Rick and I discussed, we made sure that they put their fiber optics right on the property line. So just in case somebody did buy the property and build something on it, they could still do it, and that won't interfere with it.
Very good. This is an annual fee, right? Do every year.
The fee? Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't believe it is.
I believe it's a one-time.
Yes.
It's just to allow the installation of the lines, which they will have in perpetuity for as long as whatever. And I don't believe there's 5,000. I don't believe there's any forthcoming fees after the initial.
There's no structure or anything. Everything is underground.
Anyone else have any comments on item number 7? If not, moving on to item number 8. The city controller requests City Council approve attached ordinance to pay remainder of contract between city and citywide radio systems SAIA. On September 6, 2022, Council partially funded the project. A documentation attached, remainder is due of $123,306.46. Full context of the contract is in the file at clerk's office. Anyone have any questions or comments on item number 8?
Yeah, I do.
Councilman?
Linda, when exactly was the first half of this payment made? And how was it broken down?
Payment or funding of the account?
Both.
On September 6th, 53,720 was moved over into that budget code, and
From where?
from general fund codes, and there was an additional, I think it was 32,000. Yeah, 32,280 that was reserved out of the fire protective equipment grant. So we had allocated a total of 86,000 in budget codes set up for this purpose. So that was paid on May 15th. We received copies in the comptroller's office of all the invoices on May 5th.
So what was that total?
The total of the invoices that we received, they were $209,000 $306.46. And we paid the 86,000 on the 15th because that's what was set up. And this ordinance requests funding of that budget code for the outstanding amount, which is $123,306.46. So as soon as we're able to fund that budget code, we'll process payment for the outstanding invoice amounts of $103,306.46. Does that explain?
No, I don't, are you done?
Go ahead.
I don't understand a couple of things, Linda. Perhaps you could shed some light on it.
Okay,
On the September 6th meeting,
yes,
the request was made of the council to allow the transfer of $30,000 from the general fund police department equipment budget to a fund to pay, from what I understand, is the initial deposit for this system. In addition to that, another request as part of that original ordinance was to transfer $21,000 out of the maintenance of streets equipment, DPW. That same transfer, right?
that is correct.
Okay, but bear with me. And in that ordinance, there was $2,720 that was asked to be transferred from the fire department emergency equipment.
Yes,
Okay,
those three total $53,720.
and that was the amount that was paid when?
It was paid on May 15th
That was of this year,
of this year.
so that was the initial down payment?
I don't know, we just received the invoices on May 5th, and the invoices themselves are dated March 13th, February 1st, and February 1st.
Okay, now I'm gonna do some math here, which is always dangerous for me. If I take the 123,000 that's requested today, and the approximate, we're just gonna use round numbers, and the 53,000 that was paid on May 15th or thereabouts, it comes to 176,000, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
There was,
Let me just do this
okay.
so I don't lose track of myself. That leaves a balance of 74,000. So if you take the 250,000 approximately contractual total obligation for that system, and you subtract the 176,000, which includes the 123 and the 53 that was paid on May 15th, that leaves a balance of 74,000.
well, I don't know why, but it was decided to use a streets budget code for another payment of 45,000.
Okay, but let me just stop you there. How was that done without council approval?
Well, there was money in that budget code.
There were
I don't-
monies in these other budget codes too, yet you had to come to the city council for transfer of those, right?
Well, because it's considered a citywide capital project, you move the funds over into the capital fund and you pay everything
Yeah, and that's
normally.
exactly what we did on September 6th. We took
Right,
the $53,000 from three accounts that I mentioned already,
yes.
moved them from the budget accounts to the capital fund. That's just the same thing that you're saying was done with the 45,000.
No, I'm saying that it was decided by somebody who,
Okay, well, let's get into that, because I want to know who it was decided by and how that transpired.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, let's leave that for another question to come back in. Now, 74,000 is what is owed. Let's say that 45,000 was used to pay against that 74,000. That leaves approximately 29,000 still unpaid.
I have a total of 123.
Well, that's what you're asking for today.
Right, that's what's not paid.
That's what?
That is unpaid.
No, let's do this one more time. Maybe you want to write this down, because this is the only way I'm going to be able to understand this.
Okay,
Let's start again, going back to September 6th.
okay,
From the general fund,
yeah,
permission was asked to transfer 30,000 from the police equipment budget, 21,000 from the maintenance of streets budget, and 2,700 from the fire department.
correct.
Okay, if that adds up to 53,700, now that payment was the down payment, right?
I don't.
And that, well, sure it does. You said so yourself. It was May 15th you made that payment on.
I don't know if it was a down payment. I just had
Okay,
copies
was it
of
a
the
payment?
invoices. I paid that amount, yes,
On May 15th.
yes.
Okay, let's add 123,000 to that you're requesting today.
Okay,
That comes to 176,000.
yes. And then we have the additional, in the same ordinance from September 6th, this 32,280 was reserved from the fire protective equipment grant.
So you're saying there was an additional 32,000. So there's 30,000, 21,000, 2,700, and then 32,000 again?
I'm sorry, where's? I'm sorry, say that one more time?
Okay, the general fund, we transferred 30,000 from police equipment budget,
Yes,
21,000 from maintenance of streets,
yes,
and $2,720 from fire department emergency equipment,
yes, that was
for a total of 53,720.
correct.
Now, that payment was made on May 15th.
It was part of the payment made on May 15th.
Oh, okay, but that's so I keep this straight. Just for curiosity, that was approved back in September. Why didn't we make the payment until May 15th?
I got the bills on May 5th when I received
From
a
who?
call from the SEA, and the police department brought up a statement to me that showed a whole bunch of outstanding balances, and I didn't have the invoices. And I had asked for help in obtaining copies of the invoices, and I received them on May 5th.
Okay, let's hold that thought for a minute. So we've got $53,700 approximately from those three accounts, fire, police, DPW.
Correct.
Okay, now you're saying there's an additional $32,280 from that ordinance of September 6th. Where did that come from?
That was a contribution towards this project that resulted from extra funds that were in the fire protective equipment grant code.
So the fire department actually put in close to 35,000, or strike that? Yeah, close to
Yes.
35,000?
That is correct.
Okay.
So if you add the 53,720 and this 32,280, that comes out to the 86,000, the total that we were able to pay on 5/15.
Okay.
But there was an additional 50,000 paid in September, right? The down payment.
Not in September
No?
that I know of. I know in February, we paid 45,000.
Maybe that's what it was. February 45,000.
Yeah,
Okay, so that comes to a total, if you take the 53,720, the 32,280, that comes to 86,000 approximately.
yes,
Exactly.
Add that to the 123,000 from today, if that you're asking for, that comes to 209,000, and then you're adding in the 45,000 that was paid also?
well, the 45 was already taken care of. That's
Well, I
not
don't know what
included here.
taking care of means.
It was paid out of the streets equipment fund.
And when was that paid?
It was paid on February 16th.
That was paid back in February?
Yes,
How was that paid without any invoices?
we had invoices. That's
I don't
how
understand.
that's how it was paid. It was paid.
So we
off
had
of
invoices that allowed for the $53,000 payment and the $43,000 payment, but it wasn't until May 15th that we had invoices for,
209,306.46.
and those didn't come in until March?
I don't know when they came in. I received them on May 5th.
From whom?
Well, when I received the statement showing outstanding balances, I had asked Tommy if he could help coordinate getting all of the invoices for me. And Tommy got them. I don't know if he reached out to the 3 different departments. I'm not sure, but he was able to get me the invoices. And then I was able to address it with the purchase order and another ordinance.
Because the concern I have, Linda, is that this was okayed back in September of last year, and it's 9 months later, and apparently we're just paying these people.
I don't know to pay them unless I receive the invoices.
Okay, and then we need to know, we need to find out why the invoices aren't coming in on a timely basis. John, Director of Public Safety, you have any information on this?
The only thing I know is Linda, I think it was last Monday, asked me to come into her office. We talked about it. She had mentioned to me that she was getting ready to pay Saya, but wasn't sure exactly where the additional 120,000 or something was coming from. I said, I have no idea. And she had mentioned that she had talked to Chief Packard. So I went down and I actually first went to the city clerk's office to see if there was any more documentation from September 6th. And there was some documentation. When I brought this to you guys September 6th, I had it all blocked out of who was going to pay what. It came up to, I believe, $247,000, which you guys approved on that day.
Right.
So then I went and talked to Chief Packard, and the chief had mentioned it. I said, Chief, Linda talked to you about the Saya thing? And he goes, yeah. He goes, well, I went and talked to her because Saya got a hold of him and said that they were, and I don't have any knowledge of this at all, but that they were trying to get a hold of Linda, couldn't get a hold of Linda, and then reverted back to talking to Chief Packard saying, hey, when are we getting paid? I don't know anything about invoices, where they were or anything like that.
So you don't know if Chief Packard got the invoices and when he would have gotten them?
No, this would have nothing to do with Chief. I don't think the invoices would come to Chief Packard.
Well, who would they go to?
All he said was that Saya was trying to get a hold of the controller and sent text messages and phone calls and didn't. But I have no idea, maybe just a text message, an email, an email.
Did Saya complain at all about not getting paid?
Oh, they weren't happy. I mean, they did the work. I think it was up and running by December overall, somewhere in that general area, but
Yeah,
me and Linda just talked about getting it paid.
Yeah,
we had talked about where the money was coming from, and I said, Linda, it doesn't matter to me. Let's just get this paid. Let's get, they did the work. Let's get it
Okay,
paid. So
thanks.
I don't know I don't know what emails went. I don't know anything about invoices, anything like that.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Tom, Nicometto, can you shed any light on any of this?
I paid $44,000 through the purchase order out of the equipment line.
Okay, and when did you pay that? When did you pay that?
Linda was in February.
February 16th.
Okay, and how did you know to pay that, Tom?
Because I had an invoice that Tony gave me.
That was the DPW's portion of
That
it.
was DPW's portion, and I took it out of the equipment line because the money was there. I was not.
So those particular transfers or those monies that were used to pay that particular amount didn't have to come to the council first?
No, the money was already in the budget and his equipment line, and we talked about it. He said to take it out of there, so we paid it.
Okay, yet if you go back to the ordinance from September 6th, there was a request for 3 different transfers of $30,000, $21,000, and $2,700 from somebody's budget that required council approval. Do you know anything about that? So it seems that one instance requires council approval because those were monies in a particular budget, namely fire, police, and DPW, yet this 45,000 and whatever the 100 or 83,000 or whatever that number is, didn't have to come to the council for approval. It was already in a budget.
This was already budgeted. It was-
Yeah, but so were the other three,
But we were moving them to the capital fund. That's what required your approval.
to the capital fund only.
Mhm.
Okay, now I understand. All right, and those other items, which were already budgeted for, didn't have to be put into the capital fund to pay any bills, is that correct?
You mean the 45,000?
Whatever that money came from, the 45,000 and whatever else that was used to pay a portion of that approximately $50,000. We accounted for 53,000 that was requested by the council to move to the capital fund. Yet the other amounts of monies that were already approved and budgeted for in the 22-23 budget, didn't those monies, in order to pay those bills, have to get transferred to the capital fund since this was a capital expenditure?
Well, the additional 32,280 from the fire protective equipment grant
Mhm.
was already in the capital fund.
And the 45,000?
The 45,000, I didn't realize pertained to this contract at the time it was put through. I would have liked to have moved those funds over to the capital fund to keep everything together. That's how I would have liked to have handled it. But now the outstanding balance of 123 is what I'm asking that we move from the general fund over to the capital fund so we could pay it and have all of the majority of the payments recorded in one budget code, so it's easier to track.
Sure. What can be done to streamline the communication from the time invoices are received by the city from contractors and vendors to the time they get paid and get to your office and get paid?
Well, I have to have approval by the department heads, and it's my understanding that the invoices go to the departments and they approve them, and purchase orders are made up, and then they're paid.
So that, is it your
If-
position that department heads are not giving you the invoices on a timely basis?
I don't understand what the delay or the holdup is. I know that if I get a call from SAIA or an email, and then I get a statement, then I look into why don't I have this, but it's not, I don't have the authority to print out the invoice and pay it because I don't know anything about the services in there and I can't verify it was done. The approval has to come from the department heads.
Yeah, I understand. Well, I'm done with my questions, Linda. Thank you for walking me through that.
Fred.
I appreciate it.
When they talk about department heads, I'm a department head. I don't receive any bills from
So
SAIA.
am I.
I do not receive any bills from SAIA. Now, I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus here. I'm just simply defending I do not receive a bill from SAIA.
I'm just trying to find out where these bills,
I
when they
don't-
come
I don't
in,
know.
where do they go?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
They seem to be lost in limbo somewhere.
Yeah, all I know is, again, I don't receive any bills from SAIA or from any other companies. I simply come to you guys and ask you for money. You guys either approve or disapprove. If you approve, it's out of my hands then.
Well, the question I had earlier was, we approved this last September, and it's almost 10 months later, and all of a sudden they're getting paid.
Right, yeah, and
the
I
whole
believe there was
business-
$86,000 initially back in September that was approved that came from DPW, fire, and police to put money down towards SAIA. Again, I'm not questioning why that money wasn't sent to them. That's not my business. It's not part of my job description, but I received nothing from SAIA. I received nothing from any company. All I did was Linda came up to me, asked me about it. I then went to the chief, and the chief told me that SAIA was trying to get a hold of you
I think I had
and got
actually,
tired of trying, and then went back to the chief and said, could you do something about this?
well, I was researching it.
Yeah, no, again, I'm
I
not,
think I had even asked
Yeah.
Chief Packard this is what I have. Do you think that they will accept partial payment? And I believe Chief Packard reached out to Saya,
Or he jumped on that quickly and
And they said
give you
yes.
something, yes,
and then we
absolutely.
were able to do at least a partial payment to
Right.
get them satisfied with the understanding
So
that we
when
were
you-
addressing the
right.
rest today.
Yeah, and I don't know where the invoices were at that time from, I think you said you received some in March, or February, March, or April,
No,
or whatever,
I didn't receive them. I received them in May,
in May.
but they're
okay.
dated March and
Oh, they're
February.
dated March, yeah, so I don't know where they went. Chief Packard Division Heads, Chief Packard, Chief Fino, if they receive a bill, I would imagine they would give it to you immediately, so it was paid, but I don't know that they even received. I don't think they received
If the
it.
contractor doesn't, the vendor doesn't send a bill till 8 months later, that's not our fault.
Right, absolutely. Nothing to do with us.
Right. Councilman Moretti has a.
Question, who initiated this, this idea of the radios and stuff, do we know?
Yeah, it was brought up by Chief Packard, by Tony, and by Chief Fino. They all talked to
So,
Saya.
They initially talked to Sai.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, so when we drew up a contract with them, right?
Mhm.
To do all this. So now the bills come in. Normally, in anything the city does, where do the bills go to? Does anybody know that?
Again,
That's the question.
that's
Do
a
they
great
go,
question.
do they go to the chief?
Every
Office.
project I have goes to the controller's office. I have emails approved
Okay.
that every bill, invoice,
Okay.
yes.
But
The
that's not
invoice,
what's
but yes,
supposed to
the
happen,
invoice needs to
Tony.
be approved by the department head.
It's not my job to put
Oh,
the
well, it's
invoices
been their job
together.
for the controller ever since I've been here
That's
for
not
this
what it says in
position.
the charter, and that's not what
So-
I'm told that position is supposed to do.
So
I
Linda,
don't know who
what's
tells
your,
you what you tell you, but that's how it's been done in the past.
It doesn't make it
Forever.
right. I mean, there's tons of things that
It's
have been done a
right forever.
certain way.
We get audited twice a year. We never had a problem with being audited in this city, the way business has been run before.
What was your question? Lee?
well, the question is that, is this the normal way of doing business with contractors? Okay, well, no matter what what we're doing, does it normally, where's the norm? Is the norm going to, something comes through the mail from Saya, or Saya sending it to the wrong person? And it's getting lost in the shuffle? I mean, this is what we're trying to really kind of figure out here, seems to me.
I don't know what, normally if I get invoices, they
Mm-hmm.
come from whoever approves them.
Gotcha.
That's how we get them.
Yeah, I understand.
If I get an invoice in an email,
Mhm.
I will look at it and see who it goes to, and I'll forward it to them.
So what you're saying, with the possibility, because it's coming emails, that it could get muffed up and get lost.
The one,
Is that it? I mean, I'm a
It's
paper
possible.
person. I want it on paper. I want it mailed to me. I want it on paper. I want my name on it. I don't want it going through the internet. That's me personally. And it would seem to me it solves a lot of problems.
the other thing
That's
that
my
I would
personal-
like to
Yes.
maybe change,
Mhm.
I know a lot of times contracts come before council for approval.
Right.
And they're on file in the city clerk's office.
Mhm.
We don't see copies of those contracts. So what I think should happen is if something's being approved, the funding for that entire project should be addressed at that time.
Right.
And an ordinance and where the money's coming from should all be addressed and put before the council with the contract.
Gotcha.
And I think that would clarify
Sure.
a lot, and we wouldn't have to keep coming back and address something piecemeal. I think it would make things a lot cleaner.
It's something I think personally that needs to be done so we don't run into this in the future. We're running into this with every single project that this city is doing. It's becoming so complicated, unnecessary.
Yeah,
I agree.
I go up and sign invoices in the controller's office that are dated from December, January, and I'm signing them April or May. I don't know where they're going or how they're getting there or why they're waiting that long for me to sign them, but I see things from 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay, and that's important to know. And Linda, I just have one more question as a result of your conversation with Councilman Moretti. And that is, I believe you indicated you got the invoices from Saya for these payments in March,
No, in May,
in May.
yes.
Once you receive those invoices, what is your next procedure, your next step?
Well, then have to go to the people that had the work done.
The department head?
Yes.
Okay, so when did that happen? If you got the invoice from SEIA in May for this project, when did you send it to, and what department head?
Well, I think I reached out to Tommy and asked, because I think I was busy with the budget and meetings and everything else, and I asked Tommy if he could please help me and gather any SEIA invoices that had come in. And then I was given the invoices that we put in this purchase order, and I had determined what funding we had, what was paid, what we needed, and I believe John was on vacation that week, but I needed to talk to John about if he had some idea of where funding was coming from. I didn't know if there was a grant, just to try to get information. And in the meantime, I reached out to Chief Packard, and he said, yes, those could be paid. And I said, can they accept partial payment? I have this much. Will they accept a partial payment until I can arrange for funding for the rest?
Okay, let me ask you this. If we approve the $250,000 contract for the purchase of this system back in September, didn't anybody think about where this money's supposed to come from?
Well, at the time, John
Wouldn't it
came
normally
to
come
me.
from the general fund unless otherwise stated?
Well,
Yeah, September
yes, but-
6th was agreed upon,
Yeah.
247,000.
Something like, it was around 250 if I recall.
And at that time, we had decided where 86,000 of it was coming from,
86,000 was coming from the 3 departments.
and the fire grant.
And the fire grant.
And I don't know if we're just trying to get the deposit done at that time. I'm not sure why. I don't remember that
But we
then.
didn't get the deposit done until May 5th.
Well, we funded it, but what I'm
Right.
saying is, I don't know why we didn't address the entire funding. I don't know if we're waiting to, I don't know why.
Yeah, that's out of my hands. Like
I
I said,
don't
I
know
just
why.
asked these guys.
I don't want to belabor this, but I just have another question for Tommy Lickenbell. Tommy, you paid the $45,000 invoice. Why? What caused you to make that payment?
I had a bill, it was given,
How were you, who gave you the bill and when did you get it?
Tony gave it to me,
When?
In February.
February something, I don't recall.
And that came from SEIA?
I got it, Tony's.
So, okay. Let me ask you, Tony. You got a bill from SEIA back in February.
Yes.
You didn't give that to the controller, you gave that to,
Yes, there's 2 different ways of payment. Tommy does the purchase orders and invoices that are already budgeted items. Controller does projects, capital funds, certain other payments that Tommy can't handle. Purchasing department, doesn't write invoices up for. You're not getting the full explanation of how these 2 departments run. I think that's what's not clear here.
well, what I really want to know is if you got an invoice from SEIA in February, why were we getting all the balance of these invoices in May?
That was the purchase, the reason I got the purchase order, because our radios were all ready. They had our radios in stock. They were able to set them up right away. That's why we paid that portion of the bill. Police and fire, they were all on board. Reason why that money wasn't transferred, I don't know, because that wasn't my portion of the project.
Okay.
So when you come to, when a project, I'm sorry, I don't want to.
Sure, go ahead.
When a project comes before the council, you guys are accepting, just in my case, you guys are approving a contractor, the bid, and the cost of the project. At that time, there should be an ordinance put in, along with that, funding the cost of that project. In a perfect world, it should be done at the same time. But when you approve that project with that cost, I mean, it's common sense that we have to fund that. That money has to be moved.
Well, part of the problem, I think, is that I'm not given copies of the contracts. I find out about them when I get the agenda,
You sit at these meetings.
and then
Okay,
I don't
You
get
sit
the
at these meetings and you
contracts.
listen.
Let me just cut it quick here. Wait a minute. If the council passes an ordinance funding a contract for $47,000, why do you need to see the contract? Don't you just have to locate the money and fund it as the controller?
But in what
That's not my question.
I don't see the amounts of the contracts most of the time.
Let's not talk about the contract. You have an ordinance from this body directing that monies be located and monies be set aside to pay this contract. Why do you have to wait to see a contract?
I don't see the contracts.
Okay,
They don't
but
pertain
you just
to me.
mentioned you wanted to see the contract and you were waiting for it.
Well, I think it would make sense if somebody said, we're putting this before the council, we're requesting funding for this project. And they sit with me and tell me how much is needed, and then we can determine how it's gonna be paid.
Well, so the contract, so the
But that's not happening.
council directing an ordinance saying that $247,000 is allocated to this project is not sufficient?
That's not what the ordinance says, I don't believe.
No, in this instance, it's the 53,000.
But I don't see that. All I see is this. Request approval of ordinance and the contract between the city and Saya Communications for a new citywide radio system. This is what I see. I don't see the contract, I don't see a dollar amount.
That was, the copy of the contract, the copy of everything was in
What's that?
the September 6th meeting.
Yes, but I don't get that part. I don't see the contract. So then I wait,
Wait a minute.
I have to go ask for copies
Linda, I
of
am
the
not,
contracts.
trust me when I tell you, I'm not going against you, but on September 6th,
Yes,
all the money and all the documentation was in that packet that everybody got. I believe everybody gets the same thing, all the attachments to the agenda.
Yeah, correct.
So it was there.
you're right, you're
Yeah,
right.
it was there. Again, I don't know what happened. I just want Saya.
I think we need to know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened. I just know that it was there.
Okay,
It was all there.
so I don't know, does anybody have an explanation as to what happened? Or how we can correct this in the future? That's all I'm looking at.
I think there has to be communication.
But
Because
I think you're right.
I don't think there's any communication, and I think people get something approved, and I'm left to figure out how it's paid for and where everything's coming from, and if everything's done. I think,
How is the
I think
department head, are we
people are
supposed to tell you where
supposed
to
to-
move the money? I mean, isn't that the controller's position to handle the money, to know where to pull the money out for major projects? I mean, if
Well,
I
I
could
would
pull the
think it
money
has
out
to
of
be part of
the
the
general fund for my
consideration.
project, why would I need to come to you?
Okay, well, we've got a situation where we're gonna have to address this one way or the other, because the bottom line is things aren't getting done on a timely basis, and you know, everybody's pointing the finger, and we need to clean it up as a body and as a community, as a city, and so that we become more effective, more efficient at getting these things done appropriately to satisfy everybody. But Linda, thank you. Tony, thank you. John, thank you. And Tom Nicometto, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm assuming there are no other questions. Okay, moving on to the next item. I don't know where we are anymore. Item number 9, from the city controller, request city council approve attached ordinance that funds the Center Street reconstruction project for an additional amount of $1,308,784.50. This action is in response to city council's approval of partial payment of $1,878,978.50 approved at the regular meeting May 8th, 2023. Attached ordinance for funding the full amount of the contract is $3,187,763. We were through this kind of the last time. Anybody have any issues or questions?
Just one question.
Councilman?
Does that include the sidewalks and the curbs? Yes, that's the whole package.
With that money being moved, which I didn't know about till this morning again, that would fund the whole project. And as we already paid out, made 2 payments, hopefully that we did. We have another pay up that just came in this morning, and we'll have another one next week. So the money will be paid out, and we'll have it funded, so we don't have to worry about reimbursement and not having enough money in the fund to pay the next pay,
If we approve.
if you approve it.
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, and the question, just to reiterate, you said we're getting money from chips and
Yes, our portion, the city's portion is, I think it's 109. We have over $2 million in CHIPS funding right now.
Right, okay. And what else? There's some other funding we mentioned the last time too.
Block grant money, there's 300,000 for block grant money.
So all the city's responsible for is 109, right?
Yes.
Yep, yeah, you said that the last meeting, but I'm just bringing it up to reiterate. Thank you.
All right, anyone else have any other questions? If not, moving on to item number 10, again from our Director of Purchasing, Tom McMenamin, request City Council approve attached proposal by Galvin Construction for Center Street Playground Basketball Court. The price is $103,500. The selection of Galvin Construction is based off of the Erie County bidders list under number 172955, full context on file clerk's office. I did talk to Tom Nicometto on this, and the reason I think there was an increase in, if I'm right, Tom, if not, correct me, to the 103,500 amount is because it's a complete tear down of the existing court, new concrete, drainage system included, the whole 9 yards, so that it should last, what, 20 years, 30 years?
20 years.
And that's the reason for the increase?
Yeah, we're starting complete from scratch. We're not using anything of the old court. It's all from the ground up, it's building it a little bit up because of the floodplain. And we're putting drainage in there, so there should be no issues. It should be fixed. And no problems at all. We're putting different backboards on there too, which were a little more expensive. Make it look a little more snazzy, and going with the glass backboards, which, or when they shoot the ball, it's supposed to go better thing, because some of the old ones that we put on kind of bounce pretty ugly out.
I mean, it's easier to make people make baskets. I mean, that's, I should plan that for it.
Right?
I don't know if I would recommend any of that.
Yeah, thanks for your vote of confidence in it, Russ. Okay, anyone else have any questions on that item? If not, moving on to communication from citizens, Lynette Welch, manager of Ice House Pub, request permission to have live bands on their outdoor patio every Saturday from 3 to 7, starting June 3rd through August 3rd. Anyone have any questions or issues with it, item 11?
Can I chime in here with that?
Please.
The only reason that's on the agenda, they actually have an entertainment license that was granted for the year. It allows them to have music outdoors. The entertainment license doesn't specify whether it's indoors or outdoors. So this technically didn't have to go on the agenda. I wanted to put it on there to bring this to light, that I think we need to, there's an issue as to whether or not an outdoor entertainment license should be separate from an indoor entertainment license, because they're obviously projecting music well outside the perimeter of their property line. The problem is residents can get an outdoor entertainment license and there's no issues, and they can go to 11 o'clock. We have festivals that do outdoors entertainment, stadium, for example, and they can go to 11 o'clock. These people are only asking until 7 o'clock. But the problem is, if it was a bar and they went until 11 o'clock outside, we're going to get inundated with noise complaints. So I'm not really sure how we separate, if we even do that, these type of permits. Now, they only want to go till 7 o'clock, which I don't think is unreasonable, but that's not my call. But they already have an entertainment license which covers them until 11. They don't technically need to come before this body to seek permission. They were doing it just to kind of give us a heads up. But it did bring the question to light is, should we
Have a separate statute.
should we, right, and then how do we do that and separate that from the residents that have parties, from festivals that go till 11? If bars are going to want to request outdoor entertainment, are they going to be cut off at a time earlier than everybody else is allowed to go? If not,
Well,
you know.
and I think the 11 o'clock cutoff, generally speaking, is a result of the noise ordinance anyways, which requires everybody stop doing whatever they're doing mechanically, engine-wise, whatever the case may be, by 11. So maybe that was the original thought. I don't know. So that begs the question, should we even entertain 11 until we get an opinion from the law department?
Well, this one doesn't have to be entertained because they have a license already. There's nothing in there that says they can't do it outside.
So
Like I said, I only put that on there to kind of draw some dialogue, to know that there's kind of a weird issue here.
Not only is there a weird issue, you couple that with the fact that there've been complaints of the noise from that area anyways. So if they want to limit themselves to 7 o'clock on Saturdays only, do we not want to support that by considering and passing this? I think so. At least that
But
might.
my question is this then, if we get a call, let's say they go past 7 o'clock, and I know that's what they're asking for, but they already have a license that allows them to go till 11. And is it enforceable to even say, well, you only asked till 7 when the license they had originally says they can go till 11? Which one?
Well, that's not an issue for us to decide. They're requesting only till 7, they're requesting permission. And if we're technically modifying their existing entertainment license to include live music, even though it may be all encompassing in their original license, they're asking, and we're grateful for that they are asking to do that, but they're self-limiting to 7. I think we should encourage that by entertaining their request. I don't know.
Well,
If it's enforceable or not, that's up to the courts.
My only response to that would be, then that would probably end any requests like this in the future, since they've already got an entertainment license to go till 11. They'd be like, why would they bother if we're not gonna?
Well, that door's already open now,
I
right?
understand that,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying.
I have a question. John, is there any restrictions on how loud this music can be? Is there something where you would go over there and say, listen, your bass is just way too loud here? I mean, there's people that live right next door there. So if this band is playing for 4 hours and they're trying to have a birthday party or something like that, they could be drowned right out.
We do have the decibel readers.
Okay.
However, if the police department gets a call at 9 PM for loud music at the Ice House or any other bar in the city, they're gonna go there and say, hey, guys, want to lower that a little bit? They're gonna listen,
Right.
they're gonna hear it, they're gonna lower it just a little bit.
Okay.
And I think, I can't speak for the police department, the specific people going to these cases, to these calls, but I think whenever we ask a business to lower it, they lower it.
Okay. So the Ice House did have bands like last summer?
Oh, yeah, and we got a lot of phone calls. I mean, as you guys were passing the entertainment licenses, you saw Ice House, I offhand, they had a number of phone calls, and that's usually for the live music.
I mean, there's some of the bars that are out there, there's no homes in the proximity of what's going on.
Sunny Reds runs into a lot of problems because there's houses right in back of them.
And
Ice House.
And the poorhouse has got to really run into problems if they.
Well, they have other issues.
Yeah.
I think we've already discussed that.
And I don't know if they were looking to put music outside, whether it's speakers or whatever.
Have you guys has that even been approved yet? I don't recall. I did miss a meeting a couple
They
weeks
sent
ago.
us a letter outlining what they intend to do to curb their complaints, and we approved the license.
Okay.
I recall.
Yeah, I think we did.
Jeff?
They have a standard entertainment license, which gives them mechanical and/or live music till 11 PM.
Till 11
Doesn't
PM.
designate indoor, outdoor. That's
Right.
the point I'm making here.
Right, no, I understand. I don't know if the council wants to think about maybe switching live music till 9 for those things. Or just leave it as is and just handle them on a case-by-case basis.
So there's a basic, for the decimals of this music for sound, let's say with automobiles, motorcycles and different things.
For any kind of mechanical.
Right. This is state, goes by the state designation.
I don't even know what the decibel is.
110 or something like that.
It can be tested.
Okay.
But again, does it come to that most of the time? I would say, I don't know if it's ever come to that.
Right.
It's usually, you get the phone call, the patrols go there, and they say, you gotta lower that down, we're gonna have to,
Sure.
you're gonna have to knock it off.
We can pull a license at any time.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Not without a hearing. You can cease and desist, but once they're granted a license, you cannot revoke that license without a hearing. So now the other issue is, even though the ordinance may say you can go to 11, can we limit them by what we issue here as an entertainment license? I think we can. But that's an open
I think
issue.
at any point you approve an entertainment license, either it has stipulations to it, or it needs to be done at the time of approval.
Time of approval.
And goes on record then.
Yeah, but it's a due process. They have to have a right of a hearing if you're gonna revoke their license for cause. So it has to be demonstrated. Yeah, it has to be a hearing.
Council President,
Yes, sir.
I have a question. Mr. DePasquale, didn't we approve some special events for outdoor bands and that, like at Sunny Reds? And I thought we did some at the Ice House a couple of years ago. Didn't we have, they asked to have a live band in July outside and another time and.
Yeah, well, the reason is because oftentimes they don't even know what their entertainment license covers.
Oh, okay.
They don't understand that the way the statute is written currently,
Right.
and unfortunately,
Hopefully
Rick's
they're
been
not
excused
watching.
tonight.
You keep saying 11 o'clock.
You know, well, that's what it calls for, and then they want to do something, and they, by them even asking for that, tells all of us here that maybe they think there should be more to this, you know, than just the standard entertainment
Especially
license.
live music outside, man.
Yeah, that's,
That would be,
you know, but at the same time, when we do the festival at the stadium, you know,
Well, I
they're going to 11
We did something
o'clock.
at Sunny
you know.
Reds, we did something at the
Well, they had
Ice
food
House.
trucks, Sunny Reds had food trucks
Oh,
and
that
all
was
this other
food
stuff in the
trucks.
parking lot, and we had
Okay,
to, get the health department involved and everything else.
I thought the Ice House had bands, and we approved that.
And you may be right, I had to look back and see if we.
Well, also you gotta take, a lot of these things are one-shot deals.
Correct.
Where this is every Saturday. It's plus every Saturday.
Right.
So again, as person being a neighbor, you know, it's like, well, here we go.
I
You
get
know,
it.
you gotta feel for them. I mean, I would.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't want to, you know, I don't mind music, but my God, you know, if you got something, or a baby, or who knows what going on in the home.
You know, it's interesting though, and I had this conversation with my staff, because, you know, this came up, was the fact, like, I've got a gentleman in my neighborhood that gets a permit, because he has a party once a year. He goes till 11 o'clock, you don't get much more residential than that.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, so it's, where's the,
Well, you better be, you know, a good neighbor.
I wasn't invited, but that's okay.
Unless they don't like it.
Well, there's a rub. All right, anyone else on that issue? If not, then we'll move on. Entertainment license, taken together, Jokers and 1783 Electric Class 1, as well as KJJ Group 1404 Ever Road Class 1. Anybody have any comments on that? And finally, we asked the city council to entertain possibly removing item number 8 from March 27th regarding funding the splash pad project. So unless there's any issues, any questions in regarding to that, anyone? If not, I'll formally call the meeting to order. We rise to the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take the roll, please.
Absolutely, Mr. Council President. Council, Councilmember Muflahi has been excused. Anderson? Here. Moretti? Here. Sirdike?
Here.
Morano?
Here.
Department heads, law has been excused. Development?
Here.
Public Works? Here. Public Safety?
Here.
Controller?
Here.
Recreation?
Here.
Public information has been excused. Hearings from citizens? Nothing up there? All right, with that, we'll need a motion for the approval of the minutes.
Random moves to adopt minutes for regular meeting May 2023 is written. Anderson seconds.
A motion by Morano, second by Anderson, to adopt the minutes of the regular meeting in May 2023 is written. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Departmental reports 1 through 5.
Random moves to receive and file departmental reports 1 through 5 inclusive.
Already said.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti, to receive and file departmental reports 1 through 5. Anderson?
Yes.
Moretti?
Yes.
Sirdike?
Yes.
Morano?
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Communications from the mayor, number 6. Mayor, I follow request the city council approve the attached budget orders for the city of Lackawanna for the fiscal year August 1st, 2023 through July 31st, 2024.
Given the fact that we received the budget proposal on May 10th, and there was an amendment or a revision to that proposed budget received today around 5 o'clock or 6 or whatever it was, by hand-delivered letter, we have to consider that. I'm going to make a motion to table this.
Second.
Who's the second? right, so item number 6, regarding the budget ordinance, we have a motion by Morano, second by Sirdike, to table that request until further information and all information is obtained and developed. Anderson,
Yes.
ready?
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano,
Yes.
3-4-0. With that, the ordinance will be stricken, whatever, from the agenda. We move on to communications from division department heads. Number 7, city attorney, on recommendation of the DPW commissioner, requests the city council authorize the mayor to sign the attached fiber optic easement regarding Egan Drive between the city and Crown Castle Fiber LLC, a New York limited liability company. Full text of the agreement is on file with the city clerk.
Morano moves to approve request.
Ready, second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve request. Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano,
Yes.
3-4-0. Number 8, city controller, request the city council approve the attached ordinance to pay the remainder of the contract between the city and citywide radio system known as SAIA. On October 6, 2022, the city council partially funded this project, and there's attached documentation for that. The remainder due was $123,306.46. The full context of this contract is on file in the city clerk's office.
Morano moves to receive and file act on ordinance.
Anderson seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to receive and file act on ordinance. Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano,
Yes.
carried 4-0. The ordinance amending the 2022-2023 budget ordinance adopted May 23rd, 2022 by funding budget code for citywide radio system SAIA by transferring $123,204.66 unappropriated fund balance to the budget code for transfer to other fund capital. Amend the reserve budgeted funds in the amount of $101.80 as contained in the budget code for fire protective equipment, 2022 DASNY equipment. Increasing budget code for capital fund interfund transfers by $123,204.66 and allocating $123,306.46 for the budget code citywide radio system SAIA.
Morano moves to adopt ordinance as written.
Anderson seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to adopt ordinance as written. Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano,
Yes.
carried 4-0. Item number 9, city controller, requests the city council approve the attached ordinance that funds the Center Street reconstruction project for an additional amount of $1,308,784.50. This action is in response to the city council's approval of the partial payment of $1,878,978.50 approved at the regular meeting of May 8, 2023. The attached ordinance allows for funding of the full amount of the contract, $3,187,763.
Morano moves to receive and file act on ordinance.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to receive and file act on ordinance. Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano,
Yes.
carried 4-0. The ordinance authorizing interfund advance between the general fund and the capital fund, specifically that the general fund will advance $1,308,784.50 to the capital fund for the budget code Center Street project. The capital fund will repay the advance with reimbursements from the Erie County Water Authority, Erie County Sewer Authority, CDBG funding, and CHIPS.
Morano moves to adopt ordinance as written.
Anderson seconds.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to adopt ordinance as written. Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano,
Yes.
carried 4-0. Number 10, Director of Purchasing requests the City Council approve the attached proposal by Galvo Construction for the Center Street Playground Basketball Court at a price of $103,500. Selection of Galvo Construction is based off the Erie County bidders list, vendor 172955. Full context of proposal is on file in City Clerk's office.
Morano moves to approve request.
Second.
Motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve request. Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Communications from citizens, number 11. Lynette Welch, manager of the Ice House Pub, requests permission to have bands on their outdoor patio every Saturday from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. starting June 3rd, 2023 through August 3rd, 2023.
Given the fact the council has the authority to limit not only the granting of an entertainment license, but set conditions there too, I believe the council should take this opportunity to approve this request and limiting the original entertainment license issued to allow for outdoor entertainment, but for the hours of 3 until 7 on Saturdays only for the dates of June 3rd through August 3rd, 2023.
Moretti, second.
And motion by Morano, second by Moretti to approve the request, modifying the entertainment license that has been granted to the terms and conditions outlined here at 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. starting June 3rd, 2023 through August 3rd, 2023, which is Saturdays on those dates, and limiting the time of the band to those dates and times.
Another question, it says August 26th.
I'm sorry, on the communication?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just reading it for the.
Yeah. Okay, good catch. So
Amendment to the
the
26th.
request will be correct, but the communication that I submitted will be amended. So we just need to vote on the stipulations I just outlined that you set forth. Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano,
Yes,
carried 4-0. Entertainment licenses, you want to take them both at the same time?
please.
Okay, so we got Joker, 1783 Electric Avenue, and KJJ, which is Jay's White Elephant, 1404 Abbott Road, both applying for a Class 1 live music and/or mechanical reproduction.
Morano moves to approve entertainment license for both entities.
Anderson second.
Motion by Morano, second by Anderson to approve the entertainment license for both entities. Listed here, Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti.
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano.
Yes,
Carried 4-0. Council President, you want to entertain the table item?
I do. Morano moves to remove item number 8, splash pad ordinance, table of the regular meeting of March 27, 2023, and act on same.
Ready, second.
I have a motion by Morano, second by Moretti to remove item number 8, splash pad ordinance, table at the regular meeting of March 27, 2023, and act on same. Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano.
Yes,
Carried 4-0. That ordinance amending the 2022-2023 budget ordinance adopted May 23rd, 2022 by adding a total of $1,428,117.55 to the following budget codes established for the splash pad project. Each code is the same. The designation is different. You've got splash pad city portion, $109,006.55. Splash pad Empire State Development, $374,111. Splash pad DASNY grant, $360,000. Splash pad DASNY grant, $260,000. Splash pad CDBG, $325,000. That will increase the budget code for capital fund interfund transfers by $1,428,117.55.
Morano moves to approve ordinance as written.
Anderson seconds.
And motion by Morano, second by Anderson to approve ordinance as written. Anderson,
Yes.
Moretti,
Yes.
Sirdike,
Yes.
Morano.
Yes.
Carried 4-0. Mr. Council President.
I have no further table items or old business or any new business. Any members of the council wish to bring anything up at this time? If not, I would like to adjourn this meeting.
Council President.
Yes, sir.
As I mentioned earlier, I've been getting a lot of complaints from students at Lackawanna High School parking on Josie, Shannon, Della. I think what we have to do is to move the no parking up another block on Josie. There's no houses on Josie. We'll have to maybe refer to the law department, look going forward, and that's all I gotta say now. And like I said, maybe we could send a policeman over there, 8, 9 in the morning and check the situation out. People, they're adamant, the neighbors tell me, hey, what are you doing throwing that stuff? They throw it on people's lawn. One guy put garbage cans out, they wouldn't put the,
Yeah.
It's a shame what our schools are turning out,
Yeah, I agree. Councilman Sirdike, do you want to have this as an agenda item next time, or do you want to?
Yeah, I'm just bringing it up now, and then we'll have to put it on the agenda going forward, maybe for the next meeting. And by the time, school will be out, in a month, but by next fall,
We give some time to work on
I'm planning on going to a couple of the school board members and raise this issue with them myself. I have a couple of neighbors that are gonna go with me, so I'm just bringing it up now to let the council know what's going on, so.
it. Okay, Councilman
All right,
Sirdike, thank you very much. Anyone else? If not, I'm going to move to adjourn this meeting, and we have, in honor of our council member from the 3rd Ward, his birthday today, Council Member Dean Moran. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
Wait a second.
And, oh, yeah.
You want to do that all? You want to do that all for council members?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Thank you.
So we have a motion by Morano, second et al. To adjourn the meeting in honor of council member, third ward council member Dean Morandi's 80th birthday today.
Close. Close. 24th anniversary of my 50th birthday.
There you go. And that's Anderson, ready?
Yes.
Shirley?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all.